Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we're back with round 21 of season 1 of the F1 22 Haas Road to Glory. Of course, yeah, if you missed out on the sprint race that went live yesterday, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. Of course, today we jump into the main event, 2 races to go of the season from the Haas Road to Glory, and there is still a lot to play for in the Drivers' Championship. Charles Leclerc's got it all wrapped up at the top of the field there. Ferrari have absolutely done everything they needed to, but Mercedes and Red Bull are starting to trip over each other late on in the year. We're 20 points back now behind both of the Merc cars, but, you know, if we get a bit of a miracle run through the final couple of races, we are certainly not out of it entirely just yet. But I just quickly, though, as well, before we jump into this, want to say a massive thank you to all of you for the continued support on the channel. You know, at the time of recording this, we're getting very, very close to 85,000 subscribers. So, you know, if you're new around here, yeah, it would be greatly, greatly appreciated if you do get yourself subscribed. Of course, this is, I think, if I've done my uploading correctly, I should be back now from my holidays, so fingers crossed, yeah, you have enjoyed the content whilst I've been away. And yeah, let's get into it though. Brazilian GP time. Fingers crossed we can put on a good show. This channel is proudly sponsored by Bybit, the official crypto partner of Red Bull's Formula 1 team. I've been using their platform for my personal crypto savings over the last few months, and when they got in touch to support the channel, I was super, super excited. Currently, they're offering you guys a special new promo for the first 100 of you to deposit $10 or more onto the platform. You'll get another $10 free. Also, 5 lucky winners will get their initial deposit doubled up to $1,000. That means if you deposited $1,000 onto the platform using my codes below, you could be within a chance to get another $1,000 completely free. We've seen the landscape around crypto drastically change over the last couple of years, and I genuinely believe it holds an important place in our future. However, please be careful as always when trading, as you are liable to lose money. But if you're interested and you're 18 or older, click the link down below to get started and see why Red Bull and myself, as well as thousands of others, trust Bybit as their crypto.
Welcome along then to where heroes and history are made. It's where the 2008 title was decided in the very final corner. And just 1 year later, Jenson Button stormed through from 14th on the grid to claim his one and only Drivers' Championship. It's time then for the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. Interlagos, always a very special race here in Brazil. It's a 2.7-mile circuit with 9 lefts and 6 rights for a total of 15 corners. The fastest lap today should have an average speed of around 135 miles per hour, if, of course, the weather stays dry until the end of the Grand Prix. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Sainz, Russell, Max Verstappen, and Norris. Fernando Alonso, Mr. Monaco, Ricciardo, and Esteban Ocon. Gasly, Bottas, Sergio Perez, and Tsunoda. Vettel, Latifi, Guan Yu Zhou, they've taken a grid penalty, and Mick Schumacher. Albon and Lance Stroll brings the grid to a close. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head down trackside for today's race. Anthony Davidson, a very warm welcome to you as you join me in the commentary box for today's event. Can we begin by having a chat about Charles Leclerc? They've had a fantastic campaign, a wonderful year. They come into this weekend's Grand Prix as a fully deserving champion.
I agree it's been a truly impressive season, but championship or no, I don't think they'll be gently cruising around to the finish line. In fact, with points no longer a concern, there's a lot less to risk, so we may even see a more aggressive approach.
Right, well, here we are then, on the grid, ready once more here in Sao Paulo. Starting P8 for the main event here today. I apologise in advance if I call it the feature race. I know sometimes it does tilt some of you as well. But yeah, 36 laps ahead of us, though, back once more around the Brazilian GP circuit. Fingers crossed, like I said, we can try and score some more good points today. You know, we are kind of requiring a miracle if we want to jump up those Red Bulls and Mercedes, but we've had a couple of miracles so far this year, so you can never count it out entirely on F1 22. But yeah, we've got Ferraris, Red Bulls, McLarens, Alpines, Mercedes all in front of us. Apparently I'm going to engage the anti-stall as well, but yeah, we're actually in a McLaren and Alpine sandwich for the start of this one. Luckily, we've got the jump on both of those teams in the bigger picture. Right, we're getting ready then on the grid for the Brazilian GP. Again, we need to definitely work on trying to get some tyre temperature into the rear so we can try and get a good start here today, but let's just get ourselves lined up. Purple apparently not purple on the launch, okay. But yeah, Mark just confirming there again, we need to try and get a great launch here. Intrigued to see where Mick Schumacher is going to be able to end up today as well. But let's get into it then. Brazilian GP back once more at Interlagos, Sao Paulo, waiting on those 5 red lights. I've used way too much throttle, I just couldn't quite seem to find the bike that I needed. And a bit like the sprint race yesterday, it's actually been a better start there, as we're going to try and cover off down towards turn 1. What? Bottas! I'm lost for words there. Bottas has just gone for the most unlike Bottas move I've ever seen there. And just like the sprint race yesterday, somehow the Flying Finn has made it work there, as we're going to get absolutely sent by Esteban Ocon down at the bottom of the hill as well. Oh, a big snap of oversteer as on the exit there, but we're back down to P11 then at the start of this Grand Prix. Back up the inside we'll go though on the young Frenchman there. We will say thank you very much and we'll stay inside the top 10 then at the start of this Grand Prix. But Bottas again in that Alfa Romeo just has no chill and always willing to get his elbows out here, as it looks like Hamilton, of course, took pole Friday night. Charles Leclerc got the jump on him yesterday in the sprint race, but could we see Lewis back to winning ways this weekend once more? Though, like I said, Mercedes have really come on strong late on in the year in this career mode. You know, it's kind of just been as soon as we got close to them and believed we had a chance, Mercedes kind of went, nah, we're not going to lose to Haas there. Of course, last year's Constructors' Champions versus the team that finished last year in last place with no points whatsoever, so it has been quite a weird and wonderful little fight we've had going on there. But I think, yeah, Bottas trying to defend from Fernando Alonso there. Where has this Bottas been hiding all my life there, as we make our way back through the Centre S though? 4 cars, 4 different teams now battling just inside the top 10, but we are watching the Mercs, Ferraris, Red Bulls and Lando Norris break free at the front. Here it goes, Alonso up the inside, down at the bottom of the Esquido Lago there. Ricardo and I both just have to check up, but are we going to be able to get a run on the Australian there on full commitment as we have a look round the outside, up in towards turn 5. We'll try and pinch him on the exit, but he's going to try and hang it there, so we'll have a look round the outside of Bottas as well. Or we won't. Bottas again. I don't know what I've done to upset him, but Bottas having none of it. Let's see if we can try and get a run though on Valtteri out of the final corner. As you can already see, Fernando Alonso kind of just doing the Harry Potter meme, waving goodbye there, but round the outside of Valtteri as we head back up over the start-finish line here. DRS, of course, will now be enabled as well. We are going to go late on the brakes there, but Bottas trying to go late on the brakes as well. He's going to compromise our run through turn 2, so we will just park on the exit. He has still got quite a good run on me though, so we're going to have to sit a bit defensive as we head down the Esquido del Lago once more. Here comes Valtteri Bottas to the outside. Ricardo is going to try and follow him through, but you know what? Bottas is going to get his elbows out with me. I will reciprocate. We will hang on to P8, but also now 2 seconds clear. There we go, Charles Leclerc, new fast lap of the day, trying to apply more pressure to Lewis Hamilton. I guess this is a good test actually between myself and Alonso as to who is actually quicker at the moment. 3.3 ahead of Mick Schumacher. Like I said, interested to see where he's going to be able to recover to today, but yeah, this is a good test between myself and the Alpine, because we were trying to close up to him yesterday and only could when he started getting held up a bit more. But I do genuinely believe we are quicker than Fernando. Well, about to start lap 6 then. We've still got Daniel Ricciardo trying to hold on to my coattails as Bottas has started an almighty train behind. Clearly it was lap 1 heroics from Valtteri and not a lot else, but yeah, gap to Alonso is coming down a little bit. Struggling a bit with front locking there, completely unsettled the car down through turn 1. It's going to throw me a couple of tenths further back from Fernando, but yeah, we have definitely got the pace over the Alpine. There we go, lap 7, finally now inside the DRS of Fernando Alonso. We are often pretty strong through the middle sector of this lap, which kind of goes against this car's philosophy, to be honest, because the downforce theoretically should be one of the weakest parts on this car, at least on paper. But yeah, we're doing pretty well early on there, and more importantly actually, because of those cars in front battling, Lando Norris still causing a bit of a train, actually closing in on the podium cars, or the cars battling for the podium. Well, I'm really hoping now, because of how much time we've been taking out of Alonso around the higher speed parts of the circuit, this should be a fairly simple move past the Alpine driver. I'm going to try and get a run down the Esquido del Lago. I just don't think that we're going to be close enough back up to towards turn 1. Let's just try and keep it clean and tidy there as we head through the left, then the right, and then back through the left there. Alonso really hanging that car over the curbs on the exit. He has got a lot of confidence in what the rear end of that Alpine is going to do. But here we go then. Big top end speed there on Alonso, but not close enough that time. Right, let's try it again then. Fernando Alonso might have to try and go for a move up towards turn 1. This time round on the Alpine, as we've still, got that gaggle of 4 cars there, just a little bit further up the road. Want to be carefully using too much battery there, as Alonso this time round is going to go defensive very, very late on the brakes. Oh, and does kind of overcorrect back towards the apex there. Tiny bit of contact, but luckily both get away without damage there. But we are using a lot of battery and not making much progress on the Alpine at the moment, is again heading back down the Assetto Corsa. We just haven't quite got enough. Right, we're even closer to the Alpine this time round, but we are going to have to start saving some battery if I can't complete the move now there. Is open up the DRS once more. We head up over the start-finish line. Look at how defensive Alonso's going. Super defensive there by the Alpine. I did really think he might give us some space, but we're going to try and hook it up around the outside there. Sit on the apex through turn 2. We both give each other racing room this time round, as I think we've still got the DRS on the exit though, so we'll go up and under. Fernando Alonso here, drag racing once more down the Assetto Corsa in this race, but finally we've completed that move and up now into P7 of the Brazilian Grand Prix there. Max Verstappen 3 seconds up the road. Like I said, Fernando Alonso still holding those cars up. We just got to keep going now and try and put Alonso behind us. Well, we're coming on to lap 14 then. We're kind of at a weird little stage of this Grand Prix. We're taking a tiny bit of time out of the cars in front, but really, all we're kind of focused on is just making sure we're quicker than Lando Norris at the front of that group. George Russell doesn't seem to be applying much pressure. That's not going to do me any favours there as we get a little bit loose and lively out of the first turn, but yeah, we just got to try and keep taking time out of them. Maybe we'll gain a bit more during the pit stops, but just sat comfortable. Comfortable at the moment, he says after he almost binned it at turn 2. Right, Team 1 are seeing at the end of this lap, but tyres are still feeling pretty good at the moment, and we are starting to take a little bit more time out of Max Verstappen just in front. What percentage is on tyre wear up to? Only 40%. So I suppose we can probably extend them 2 longer. I mean, to be honest, it probably wouldn't matter if we boxed on the same lap as Mick. He's a good, 20 seconds behind? Probably a little bit more than that. So we'll see how we get on, but yeah, especially whilst we're taking time out of these cars in front, we may as well just stay out here. Hope that, of course, generally they will undercut you. Generally, for the human player, it's worth trying to go for an overcut against the AI still on F122. And I mean, look at this at the moment. Lando Norris, I'm guessing, is struggling because all of these cars just sitting ducks through the middle sector, and that's another half a second gone. We are flying. There we go, Hamilton and Charles Leclerc into the pits at the front of the field. Are we going to see anyone else there? Yeah, Max Verstappen dives it in at the end of the same lap there, so we're going to try and box in, I think, at the end of this one. Let's confirm that with the team. Or not, apparently. They're not happy with that. Bit weird. Let's just wait and see.
Confirmed. We'll receive you at the end of this lap.
There we go. So maybe if they're sensible, they'll box Mick at the end of this one. But yeah, we are now up at a P4 then of the Grand Prix, but we've got to try and fill into that gap that Verstappen has left behind. Of Jung Sao then once more in this Grand Prix. We are going to box them at the end of this lap as Lando Norris currently in the lead ahead of Sainz, Russell and myself. I think all 4 of us are going to be peeling into the pit lane now, as I don't know which Williams that is, but they've clearly had a nightmare weekend. Oh, why does it suddenly tell you that the pit lane line is much earlier than it was there? I thought we'd sped on the way in, but all 3 of those cars line up into the pits. Where are we going to re-emerge then? Are we going to be any closer to them? We need a good pit stop from the Haas boys here. Come on, team, let's do this. 2.5 seconds. Bit weird. Norris has been jumped though. George Russell's got the jump on the pair of them. So fantastic job down at Mercedes as there goes Mick Schumacher into the pit lane as well. But a little bit of understeer there on the exit. Cold tyres, everything like that. Got to be super careful on the pit exit around this circuit. And look at that then. Max Verstappen has jumped past all of those cars. They're pretty much all in inverse of where they were 2 laps ago. I don't think I've ever seen that on an F1 game. Yes, the only problem with that, of course, is now that Lando Norris, who's sort of the wedge in the way of all those other cars, has been released. So now we've kind of got to hope that Lando loses track of those cars in front of him. There's Leclerc flying at the moment, but yeah, now just means, of course, Verstappen might be able to break away, which it already looks like he's trying to do. And Russell and Sainz are probably still comfortably quicker than myself. Hamilton and Leclerc, though, battling it out at the front of the field. Maybe that'll be a championship battle come next season. We are working so hard at the moment to try and get this gap down to Lando Norris. Now down to 1.25 seconds. You can see they're still having to use quite a bit of battery. They are bringing it in the right direction though, despite the fact Lando's got DRS. New fastest lap of the day. That's how hard we're pushing at the moment. We are really giving it all at the moment, trying to prove what this Haas car is still worthy of. That Mexico and, of course, Zandvoort weren't complete flukes. They certainly were outliers, but this is a fast race car now on F1 22. You know, we are best of the rest of the moment and not far away from those big teams, but we just got to keep pushing on. As there we go. Under 1 second to Lando Norris. Now we've got to stay here. And that's exactly what we've done then. End of lap 21. 8/10 back behind Lando Norris. Are we going to be able to start picking off cars one by one, like we were able to in Mexico? Well, end of lap 23 then, all over the back now of Lando Norris in this Grand Prix. Sao Paulo is so weird. You kind of really do have to take 3 or 4 laps to try and gear up an overtake on the car in front, especially when they're pretty similar pace here. But look at this now. We've got to run on Lando Norris as we head up towards the start-finish line. Here we're going to have a look to the inside. The AI often force you so aggressive there, but we will slot in ahead of the McLaren there, and up into P6 now of the Grand Prix we go, getting very loose and lively over the curves on the exit. Just have to blend out the throttle slightly, but Lando Norris just forced off the optimal line there, will concede the place, and went out a bit of P6 here. Could we still sneak away a podium in Sao Paulo? End of lap 25 now, all over the back of Carlos Sainz in this Grand Prix. DRS wide open once more as we head back up towards the start-finish line. As Sainz aware of me though, he's going to go very defensive, moves around a little bit in the braking zone, will miss his apex through turn 1, and that's going to bring us even closer to the gearbox of the Ferrari car there. Can we try and get a good run out of the centre? That's there as early on the battery as we possibly can, and we are going to get a run down the Esquina de Lago there to the outside of Carlos Sainz in this Grand Prix there. We clipped a wheel on the grass on the way in, but we swoop around him, and now up into P5 of this Brazilian GP. Loving the moves we're able to make at the moment. Full of confidence in the car. We didn't really have this sort of pace or feeling in the sprint, but yeah, those extra 12 laps just give you that extra bit of detail and data that you need. And come Sunday, we are still feeling aggressive, feeling brave, and feeling quick. Well, we really are now getting into the dying stages of the Brazilian Grand Prix. Okay, had not expected that today, but we could see a light spitting of rain right towards the end of this one here in Brazil. I don't think it's going to make much difference, but you never quite know. At Interlagos is trying to close in on George Russell and that Mercedes there, of course. If we get past George, of course, Max Verstappen, sorry, should be a bit easier to navigate because he doesn't have the DRS to defend himself. But yeah, George Russell, of course, that Merc is fast down the straights. And he's got the DRS still. Right, come on then. End of lap 30 here. 6 to go from Interlagos. And I think once more we've got to start trying to get our elbows out a bit more with George Russell here as we gain. As we head up towards the start-finish line. Are we going to send it? Yes, we are. Down at turn 1. Oh, a lot of cadence braking there. We swing it up the inside of George Russell there. And the AI are normally right on the limit of braking down at turn 1 there. But we have slowed the car up and brought ourselves into P4 of this Brazilian GP, and honestly that one was really sort of a I'm going for this apparently. I didn't even sort of compute it myself there. I was just dead set on trying to outbrake George Russell down in towards turn 1 there, and luckily just about got the car slowed up. We're within 1 second even, I should say, of Max Verstappen, as looks like Charles Leclerc has got the jump on Hamilton, but they're still wheel to wheel towards the end of this. We need to stay though within range of Max Verstappen if we want to try and snooker away a podium. I mean, this car, when it's dialed in, is so much fun to drive. So much fun. Now we've got Alex Albon in the way there. Max Verstappen, I'm sure, will be screaming over the radio. Reminder, of course, of Esteban Ocon a couple of years ago, but yeah, Verstappen and I both navigate the Williams there. Looks like George Russell has snuck by as well. I think it was just Lando Norris that Albon stayed in the way of, but 4 laps to go here in Brazil. We are tucked up within the DRS range of Max, but we just got to get one big run on him and make sure we got enough DRS to do it. As we're having to still use a bit just to make sure we stay closer, but again, you know, it does take a couple of laps to sort of set yourself up for a move here at Interlagos, but we are definitely on the offensive still. 3 laps to go here, and we are getting all over the gearbox once more of Max Verstappen, struggling a bit with front locking on the outside wheel at turn 1. I can just feel it under rotating every time we go through, so these tyres are beginning to bleed late on in the Grand Prix there. Of course, the Dutchman did box one lap earlier, so if our tyres are going off, I wonder what he's doing at this stage of the afternoon, but still just trying to hang close. I think we just got to try and make the move sooner rather than later.
Rain in about 10 to 15 minutes.
I don't care, Mark, funnily enough, if it's 10 to 15 minutes away. There's, you can just see Verstappen hanging the car out loose through turn 6 there. Really is just trying to chuck that Red Bull around in the final few laps of the Grand Prix. They're trying to build up any sort of margin he possibly can at the moment. I mean, Red Bull versus Haas is not a battle we see too often in Formula 1, but neither is Haas versus Mercedes or Haas versus Ferrari. That's just how cool this little career mode is. Again, it's starting to feel a little bit more do or die here. We're losing a bit more in the traction zones to Max Verstappen, so I think we've just got to make the move happen as soon as possible here. As again, up towards turn 1, not gaining enough on the Dutchman. Certainly don't quite feel brave enough to send it like we did on George Russell again there, as we'll try and put the power down out of turn 2. And this time around, we're a whole lot closer to Max Verstappen as we head down the Assetto Corsa once more in this Grand Prix here. Lap 35 of 36, and we still just can't make anything happen. I feel like starting the final lap, it's going to have to be the moment we try and get past Max here, because I don't think we'll be able to get the run out of Jung Sao on the final lap of this Grand Prix there. So out of the final corners for the penultimate time in this race, we're about a tenth closer than we have been over the last couple of laps. Surely now we can get the run on the Dutchman as we head back up towards the start-finish line here. We're gaining. Those Oracle logos get bigger and bigger there as Max Verstappen defensive on me. Down towards someone, he's going to massively outbrake himself. We forced the Dutchman into a mistake there. And now up into P3 of the Grand Prix will go there. It might only be for one lap, we'll be in the podium places, but it's the only lap that matters as now he's under pressure from George Russell as well there. It looks like Leclerc has got the jump on Hamilton late on in the day, and they're all going to be scrabbling behind for positions here. Max Verstappen, it all seems to just be going wrong for the Dutchman on the last lap of the Grand Prix here, but it was a completely unforced error from him. I said the AI brakes so insanely late down at turn 1 there. That's why I was so shocked that I pulled off the move on George Russell a couple of laps ago, but Max Verstappen and George Russell still side by side as they head through this final lap of the Brazilian Grand Prix there. Charles Leclerc is going to walk away with yet another race victory for himself and Ferrari. They're the first actually in a couple of races, if I remember correctly there. But out of the final corner, up towards the start-finish line, we are going to walk away with a podium place on the very last lap here. Looks like Russell has got the move done on Verstappen as well, as Leclerc, he's taken my fastest lap point.
Brilliant job, mate. That's a fantastic podium. Super driving, really strong pace. I'm really happy. Well deserved.
Not just victory today then, but the championship as well. What a spectacular season they've had. Congratulations to the whole team. And talk to me. What do you think it was that sealed the win for them?
I really feel the track layout combined with the track temperatures we saw today suited their car. These cars come alive when the tyres are just at the right temperature, and the driver did a great job managing that as well. They just look so comfortable out there. It's like anything, it always looks so easy when it all just clicks.
Looking at the podium, you can see that red suit familiar to fans across the globe. A world-class win for a world-class team. Ferrari, do it again. Some amazing talent out on the track today. But Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
I have to give it to Mr. Monaco. They fought so hard and had incredible pace at times, so I don't think anyone else did a better job today.
So then, Ferrari have now moved out of sight and out of reach. It's another triumph for the Italian team as they claim the World Constructors' Championship. I'm equal parts exhausted and elated with this weekend of Formula One, so be sure to join us for the next one.
Well, there we are then, the end of the Brazilian GP, and it is Charles Leclerc that walks away with the dub there. Lewis Hamilton P2 ahead of myself and George Russell, and Max Verstappen, yeah, dropping down from 3rd to 5th on the final lap of the race there. Quite uncommon to see the Dutchman make a mistake late on in an afternoon. But Sainz finishes 6th there ahead of Lando Norris. Fernando Alonso, a pretty quiet afternoon out in P8 ahead of Ricciardo and Sergio Perez there, who did recover the points after serving his grid penalties. But yeah, further down the order, everyone made it to the end of the race there, which is nice to see as always. Albon, I think, yeah, had to box very, very early on there, and it was a very, very disappointing afternoon for the Williams driver there. Championship-wise, though, again, you know, Leclerc, he's comfortable out front there, 94 points clear of Carlos Sainz as we head into the final race of the year. 4 points separating the Red Bull cars, 16 points separating both Red Bulls and both Mercedes as we leave Brazil there, and we're another 16 points back behind George Russell, so theoretically, the highest now we could finish in this championship would be sadly only P5 there. We can't get the jump on either of those Red Bulls, but yeah, I think P7, unless we get a miracle run, is probably all we're going to be able to do here, but still certainly a very, very good year, you know, best of the rest by a long, long margin ahead of Alonso there. Any other movers further down the rostrum? I think everything is all but settled at the moment. Constructors-wise, though, 21 points between Red Bull and Mercedes as we head into Abu Dhabi. I mean, if Mercedes have got a fast race car there, that is not impossible to try and overcome. Say it's both Mercs, both Ferraris, both Red Bulls, I think Mercedes would do it at the final race of the year. Like I said, we've locked in P4. That is now a guarantee as well. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like. Get yourself subscribed as well. And we will return very, very soon with a finale of Season 1 of our Haas Road to Glory. We'll be back very, very soon in Abu Dhabi. None of these videos would be possible without the help of our channel members. So a massive thank you to all of the names you see on your screens currently for helping support the channel. You can join them by clicking the join button down below. And yeah, thank you once again to everyone that continues all the insane support on my work.